harassed by an owner of a Pilates studio that I used to go to. And it all started because of this. I did not recommend other people to go to this Pilates studio because of the experience I had with the owner. And I also just want to clarify by saying this video is not about the instructors who work there, just about the owner. So after the fact, the owner got wind of my negative review about the studio. The owner went on a public harassment smear campaign against me. What she did was extremely disturbing, disgusting, and extremely unprofessional of a business owner to be doing. What prompted me to not support this studio is because of this comment right here that she made while I was a current client going to her Pilates studio. She said, "Tell this bitch she is weak," behind my back to other people. Speaking this way about a paying customer is absolutely disgusting. The owner decided to post 10 plus Instagram stories speaking very poorly about me and tagging me in each one of her stories. And she also made a dedicated in-feed Instagram post on her page speaking extremely negative about me. And she even went as far as putting a picture of myself as the cover photo. But it gets better. Then she continues to rage DM me, bragging about her children when I just openly talked about how I had a miscarriage. How nice of her. And also, if anyone can decipher this message, be my guest. Say you're sorry for your actions. You would be surprised with how much can go away with a simple apology. Now, is this a threat? I don't know. You tell me. After she decided she was done rage DMing me on her personal Instagram account, she started to rage DM me on the Pilates studio account.
Beauty and currency are amplifiers. An amplifier makes things bigger. So when you're a woman or a man and you're attractive, you're beautiful, you're successful, it could be success, you're smart, you're educated, you're intelligent, you have to understand that when you have altercations with people, disagreements with people, or in the case of Beyonce, you simply mind your business and that gets blown up, everything that you do is going to be amplified. You are under a microscope. You are under a magnifying glass. So your beauty, your currency, it makes you a target. It puts a bullseye on your back. People are watching you very closely. Everybody else can say, hey, I wasn't a big fan of that Pilates studio, but because you're attractive and you say it, that can cause the owner to come at you a lot more aggressively. You can say, I'm not a big fan of Edgar Allan Poe, but because you're intelligent, people are going to come at you harder and say, oh, well, you must be a dummy, or you must not be as smart as you think you are if you don't like Edgar Allan Poe. Like, whatever your currency is, it's an amplifier and it's going to cause people to come at you more aggressively. As a woman myself, with the currencies I've had men do things to me that they know is inappropriate and out of line. I've had women do things to me that's inappropriate and out of line. And as I've gotten older, because I know beauty and currency are amplifiers, I'm going to shred you. And I'm not going to give you a pass or grace or any of that when it's my time to retaliate. Respectfully. Because people do the craziest things to people because of their currency, and they think it's appropriate. Like, it's appropriate to be a business owner and socially talk bad about and virtually stalk and harass and cyberbully a paying customer. But she thinks that's okay because this woman is beautiful, because this woman may have certain things that I want. I am going to abuse the proximity that she has to going to my studio to bully her. You have to get to a point as a man or a woman where you don't allow people to do that anymore. When it's time for you to retaliate, you do teach them a lesson. Because you can't abuse people or do crazy things to people simply because of their currency. And that is what's going on with this scenario here. So somebody cannot even go to a Pilates class without dealing with some strange lady. So when you're a woman with currency or a man with currency, beauty, brains, success, whatever it is that may trigger people, you have to understand that they are going to do things to you that are very inappropriate because of how they feel about you. Beauty is an amplifier. It causes people to lose their brain cells. Currency, beauty causes people. I told you guys that story about how I had a family member when I was 15 years old. A 43-year-old family member tried to get physical with me. Any woman that is 43 years old and a woman and a 15-year-old child, you're trying to get physical and fight a 15-year-old. You're following a 15-year-old because you have an issue with her mother and you're jealous of her. But she didn't even think that she would end up in jail for that. You can't attack a minor. But beauty is an amplifier. It causes people to lose brain cells. It causes people to forget about rules and regulations. It causes people to do things that are crazy. I remember when that happened, and my father, I told him about it a lot later on, and my father was like, "Why didn't you tell me?" I would have made sure that she never lived a normal life ever again. I would have taught her a lesson. I would have took you straight to the courthouse, and she would have had a charge, because a grown woman that is in her 40s should not be attacking a teenager. I would have taught her a lesson. Why didn't you tell me that? Women and men act very crazy when they encounter people who are threatening, and they start doing things that are inappropriate. And in their mind is telling them it's appropriate, because the way that you're triggering them, they feel like, I have a right to do this to her because she's triggering me. I have a right to harass her. That is what their brain is telling them. Hey, this person is triggering your ego. This person is triggering your insecurities. Post about her, talk about her, tag her. You have the right to do that because of how she triggers you. Beauty and currency, it amplifies people to do crazy things. And that is why I always say, if you are a triple threat, you don't need to give people grace. If you want to, you can. But after they come at you, they don't get to determine how you respond. So if this lady wants to file a lawsuit, she doesn't have to be understanding and drop the lawsuit. She doesn't have to do that. She doesn't have to. That's up to her discretion. But you have to understand that your currency is an amplifier. So the reason why the owner of that yoga studio or Pilates studio decided to go on a smear campaign and harass this young lady is because she's beautiful. That's the first reason. The second reason may be maybe her energy, maybe her spirit, maybe the lady encountered her. Some people, your spirit irritates people's demons. So the minute they encounter you, they may, again, develop an obsession with you. People with vibrant energy, especially if you're attractive, you stain people's brain, okay? So why would the owner of the Pilates studio go online, tag her? You're supposed to be a business owner, so you shouldn't be tagging a past customer and dragging them and bullying them online. And these are the behaviors that I say women carry on with. They act like it doesn't happen because they try to hide it. But this is how women operate a lot of times, is they're bullies, right? So this person came to your Pilates studio. She didn't have a good experience. She was talking to a friend. She didn't recommend it. Life goes on. Not everybody's going to love your practice or your studio or your business. It's okay. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. So because she sent that out, you decided to go on a full rampage on the internet and talk bad about her, talk about her fertility, talk about her issues bearing children. You completely went in on this lady simply because she didn't recommend your Pilates studio and didn't have a good experience with you. So beauty and currency are amplifiers. If you are an attractive woman or man, if you are a smart woman or man, if you are a successful woman or man, because of those currencies that you have, people are going to come at you a lot more aggressively. Like, for example, when I used to allow people to project and gaslight me, meaning I didn't know what I know now, I would allow people to create a different set of rules for me. I would allow people to give everybody else a pass, but not give me one, right? And I would see it. And then it's not until I got older, even in corporate America, where I'm like, listen, I'm going to file a lawsuit, because if A, B, and C can do it and you're calling me out separately, I have the emails and the proof that shows that there's partiality here, and there should not be that. And you guys have to understand that in life, because of your currency, people are going to give you partiality. They're going to come at you more aggressively sometimes. They may stalk you and do all these things because they feel like they have to be more aggressive with you because of how you're triggering their ego. When you're attractive, it amplifies things. Okay, it amplifies things. You don't really, people are going to come a lot harder at you when you're attractive than they would come at another person that's not triggering them. Okay, and we have to have these conversations because it's the truth. There was this very popular influencer online that I used to be so fond of. Okay, she's an OG. Nothing new, OG by 15 years. She's an OG. And I remember I was on one of her lives because I really liked her. So I was on one of her lives. I was just listening, and she was sharing a story about a friend that tried to destroy her relationship with a guy or whatever. So I commented and I said, this is why women have to be so careful with bringing their men around friends or anything like that before seeing if the woman is male-centered. Women have to be very careful with how close you allow the guy that you're with to be around your friends. Oh, I'm not insecure. You're probably insecure, but I'm not insecure. So I'm not insecure. And then when she responded to my comment in that way, I'm like, that is a very odd way to respond to somebody who is commenting something to piggyback off what you're saying in a positive manner. That was a very odd way to respond. And I'm like, wow, it's so funny that this person is online, talking to women about confidence, but you have none. A grifter, right? Another grifter. And once I saw her knee-jerk reaction, I'm like, okay, so she's clearly insecure, highly insecure. Let me go ahead and unfollow and block this fraudulent cosplayer, right? Why do I feel that way? When you're attractive, it's going to amplify people's reactions towards you, okay? When you have a currency, meaning you're educated or you're successful, whatever it is, it doesn't have to only be beauty. It's going to amplify people's negative responses to you. You want to know who comes to mind when I think about this? Jen and Evelyn. Jen and Evelyn comes to mind. Why do Jen and Evelyn come to mind? If you're going to stop being friends with a woman, you don't have to get aggressive with your friend, right? It just didn't work out. We're no longer friends. It just didn't work out. I wish her the best. We're moving on. She's going to go her way. I'm going to go my way. It is what it is. But anytime Jen and Evelyn on Basketball Wives were at odds, Evelyn was always ready. Evelyn always wanted to rip Jennifer's head off. And I always found that so weird that you claim this person is your best friend. You claim you love this person or you love this friend at one point. But anytime you and Jen are at odds, you want to rip her head off. And it's in a very aggressive manner. This is not someone you were friends with for almost 20 plus years. This is a woman that you just met off the block. It was so weird to me. But then I realized the reason why, in my opinion, Evelyn comes at Jen so hard is because Jennifer is living the life that Evelyn feels like she was entitled to live. And because there's always that underlying, I should have been the one in your spot. Anytime her and Jen get into an altercation, Jen's currency amplifies her aggression, right? Why? Jen is a beautiful, dark-skinned Black woman married into a millionaire family. Evelyn had to kind of move her way up the ladder and, be connected to many different, I hate to say it, men in order to supply the lifestyle that she wanted. Jen didn't have to do that. Jen was born into money. She was born into a lifestyle like that. So when a Black woman is born into that, sometimes women of other races may feel like, I should have had that. I should have been entitled to that. Your life should have been my life, and my life should have been your life. So I feel like anytime she would get into these altercations with Evelyn, Evelyn would come at her so aggressively. And I'm like, there's something else there. There's something else that is amplifying her aggression towards her friend. And I believe that that's what it is. So when you have beauty, you're attractive, or you have any type of currency, that is going to amplify people's reactions to you. It is going to make people more firm with you. It's going to make people change dress codes. Yes. They will change dress codes at the workplace specifically for you. There's another content creator that said that she would come to work in heels and slacks looking nice, and they changed the dress code. Once she started coming in dressed in a specific way, they changed the whole dress code. They said no heels allowed, no slacks allowed, dresses over the knee. They changed the dress code because that is what beauty does. It's an amplifier. It amplifies how people respond to you. It amplifies how people react to you, which is why I always tell, especially beautiful women, I think I spoke about this when it came to Melissa Ford, you got to stay away from altercations because people are going to be a lot more aggressive with how they attack you. They're going to be more vicious because the way that you look is already amplifying their anger. That's why for me, I always say, I do believe in that saying, keep a baby, you know what, and do not go back and forth with a random. Beautiful women, attractive women, women with currency, men with currency, with education, who have things that people may want. You should not be going back and forth with people because when they come at you, it's going to be in a very aggressive way. If you have to sue them for defamation, sue them. On the low, send them the paperwork, right? Or, avoid them altogether because they're going to come at you a lot more aggressively. A good example of this is Beyonce and Brandy. If Beyonce was Keisha Cole and went to the That Boy Is Mine tour and Keisha Cole didn't say anything to Brandy, it would not be making headlines. It would not be on TMZ. It would not be on the Shade Room. It would not be on the internet. People would not be making negative commentary on Beyonce because it wouldn't matter. But because of the currency Beyonce has, she's under a microscope. She's under a magnifying glass. Everything that she does is going to be amplified because of the currency that she has. So that's what's happening with this young lady that's getting stalked and harassed. To people are going to come at you a lot harder when you're successful. This reminds me of Wendy from Real Housewives of Potomac. I remember watching a couple of episodes of Real Housewives of Potomac, and people would come at Wendy a lot harder on that show. I noticed that when the women would come for Wendy, all bets were off. When they would come for Wendy, it was in a very, very, very aggressive manner. Why? Wendy is a dark-skinned African woman who's beautiful. She's very highly educated. She's very confident, and she's very intelligent. So anytime someone would get into an argument with Wendy, they would come at her a lot harder because she has certain currencies that's already triggering them under the surface. So when this woman said that she got stalked and harassed by an owner, women have to understand, if you're beautiful, women are going to come at you harder. They're going to be more aggressive with you. When they respond to you, they're not going to give you the grace they would give someone else that doesn't trigger them. When they talk to you, it's going to be more aggressive. When you get in a misunderstanding with them and you're just talking to them, they'll push their chair back and they'll stand up like they're getting ready to hit you because your beauty is already an amplifier. It's amplifying their negative feelings. That's why I always say that verse from the song I Get It. It was an old song that was very popular. I think Young Miami said, I keep a baby, you know what? I'm not fighting with a random. When you're an attractive woman or man, you should be staying away from fights or stuff like that because your beauty is an amplifier. So even if what you're doing is normal and everybody else is doing it, the fact that you're doing it, people are going to come at you aggressively, right? The rules don't apply to everyone else, but the rules apply to you though, right? So for me, I always say, I'm not going back and forth with anybody. I don't fight. I don't get into physical altercations with people. I don't do any of that because beauty is an amplifier. So people are going to come at the attractive person a lot more aggressively. They are going to come at the educated person. If you are very educated, people are going to come at you more aggressively. Whatever currency you have, it's going to amplify people's reactions to you. For example, there's a young lady on TikTok where she spoke about how she would come to work with, I guess wearing dresses or heels or whatever. And all of a sudden, she's a very beautiful woman. All of a sudden, they changed the employee handbook, the dress code handbook, they changed it. Beauty is an amplifier, meaning it's okay when everybody else does something, but if you do it, it's a big deal. That's why I always say when people are attractive or you have a lot of currency, you got to work on your mental health to not allow people to gaslight you. Because the rules don't apply to anybody else, but because of the way you look, the rules apply to you. I'm not going to stalk everybody else, but I'm going to stalk you. I'm not going to go online and verbally violate anybody else who are saying the same thing, but I'm going to go online and I'm going to verbally violate you. That's what beauty does. It amplifies things. I have seen women where other women, they would have altercations with other women and they would just sit down and have a verbal conversation and get to the bottom of it. But when I want to have a verbal conversation to see if we want to get to the bottom of it, you're standing up. You're getting out of your chair. You're walking towards me. So why are you more aggressive with me than you were with that other person? That's what beauty does. It's an amplifier. It amplifies people's feelings. It amplifies people's emotions. It amplifies people's insecurities. That's why a woman can not be very conventionally attractive. And she talks about the fact that she's attractive and women are like, you're so beautiful, sis. Yes, sis. But when an attractive woman is like, yes, I'm attractive, it triggers people into feeling like, oh, she's into herself. Beauty amplifies people's emotions, especially if the emotions are negative. So with the stalking that she experienced via this business owner, I've kind of been through stuff like that before in the past, which is why I'm also extremely careful with the people that I go to for services, where I go to the gym, where I work out. Like, I'm very, very careful because I know that beauty is it's going to make people come at me harder. I already know that. Beauty and currency will also make people not have empathy for you. If you're someone who is educated and well off and you start having financial problems, people won't be able to have empathy for you because, wait a minute, you're a dentist. I don't care about the fact that you went through a hard time or you got injured and you weren't able to work and now you're backed up on your mortgage. You're a dentist. You have your own practice. You have a currency. So I'm not going to have empathy for the fact that you got injured and you weren't able to work for a long period of time, because that's what currency does. It's an amplifier. So people will come at you harder. They will have less empathy for you. They will be more aggressive with you.
December 7th, Wounded. This is going to be a phenomenal masterclass. This is a very spiritual class. The wounds that you have in your life that you cannot see, okay? All of the pain, the scratches, the wounds that you are carrying externally affects you. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to take responsibility for ourselves. It's not just paying bills and going to school and putting gas in our car. Whatever wound that you have internally, whether it's a rejection wound, you've been rejected a lot by people, that affects your ability to socialize. If you have a mother wound, it's hard for you to connect with women. You have a father wound, it's hard for you to connect with men. You have a spiritual wound, it's hard for you to connect with your deeper self, with God. There are so many wounds that people have that they don't even realize it's there, and it's affecting your progress. It's affecting your money. It's affecting your ambition. It's affecting your passion. This class, we are going to go through every single type of wound that I personally feel like shows up in people's lives often. And we are also going to dissect how to keep those wounds from destroying our progression, and also how to heal them over time and maintain the way these wounds affect our lives on a deeper level. Wounded, December 7th, 2025. Be there, be square. Divine Feminine. Oh my God. December 14th. I'm very excited about this. I am. I love talking about the feminine. We talked about weaponize your masculinity, but now we're gonna close out the year with the divine feminine. This class is going to be wonderful for all you ladies who just want to be empowered again. You want to learn about feminine history. Oh yeah, this class is going to highlight some of the world-changing women who fought for us as women to be able to have the opportunities that we have today. This class will definitely touch on some glamour as well. Okay, everybody getting all glammed up. And this class is also going to touch on the spiritual connotations and the spiritual power that we have as women. Women are portals, as I always talk about. So this is going to touch on our internal power, our womb power, womb cleansing. We are going to do it all in this class. December 14th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Be there or be square. Looking forward to you guys signing. My mother started to panic. They're like, we need to call 911. Something is wrong. Doctor told my mother, it looks like your baby may unfortunately be a victim of SIDS. God is full of surprises, but good surprises. Major encounter with God in my life. That was the Holy Spirit warning me and giving me signals about a warfare that was. He's never going to lead you in a path that is going to end in your demise. No way. It's important to keep pushing, keep praying, and keep believing, even when you don't see a way out. And because something is right with you, that's why you're getting attacked a lot. God speaks to us through people, through dreams, through scenarios, through feelings that we get, our discernment, showing up. You got to take God serious. You got to keep God at the center of your life at all times. I'm going to walk away from God because of these experiences that I've had.